Okay, hello for those of you who are watching it on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and KGRADB Radio. Hello to you guys. Let me open that up. There we go. We're changed the audience there. Okay, and now we're live on our Spreaker format, so we appreciate everybody listening to Spreaker and YouTube and everywhere else, and YouNow and TikTok. We're live. We're live. Hey, everybody, I'm Bishop James Long, and it is Friday. It is wherever you are, hopefully you're having a good Friday. So whatever, hopefully you'll have a great, something wonderful planned this weekend, hopefully. A couple things before we get into our presentation, because we're going to have fun. I think we're really looking forward to the presentation tonight. First of all, I want you to make sure you go to our sponsors, and that website is KGRADB.com. That's D as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. KGRADB.com. Now, they have paranormal shows there everywhere. I mean, it's paranormal all the time, and it's very, very cool shows. And yep, the Sacred Division airs there. The Sacred Division that's what this show is. So that airs there every Friday, and they have a lot of really cool paranormal shows there. So if you like the paranormal, you got to check them out. I think you're really going to like it. So make sure you subscribe, though. Put Bishop as your promo code. You're going to get 30% off your subscription. It's inexpensive as it is, but it's going to save you some money. So why not? So again, that's KGRADB.com and Bishop as your promo code. Also, if you want to go to my website, it's pretty simple, bishopjameslong.com. There it is. bishopjameslong.com. And if you want to go to the church's website, that's easy too, usocc.org. Now, of course, tonight we have night prayer. And if you'd like to join us, you can just go to my website, bishopjameslong.com. Scroll down to the very, 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 very bottom, and you will see where it says night prayer. And all you got to do is click the link. That's it. And you're there. You're set to go. You're set to go rock and roll. And it'll take you right there to that's at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, tonight, I will be going to, I'll be stopping by my buddy's, my live show. His name is Bill Bean. And Bill Bean is a deliverance minister. He has been in the ministry for a very, very long time. He's been in the paranormal community for, quite a long time as well. And so he's very well known, and a lot of people like Bill. I like Bill, and so I'll be jumping on his show tonight to say howdy to everybody, because this is the first time I've been on his show in all the years I've known him, which is we're so busy, and his show's at 11 Eastern Standard Time. So if you're going to be up and about and you just don't want to go to bed, you want to stay up, hop on over to Bill Bean's. So it's very simple. If you go to my website, not my Facebook page, I actually put the link there. So all you got to do is make sure you go to the right Facebook page. And if you don't know it, just go to bishopjameslong.com. Bishopjameslong.com. Scroll down to where it says social media, and it'll say Facebook. If you click it, it takes you right to my Facebook page, and I put the link in there for you. So that's at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hop on over. I think we're going to, Bill's a really cool guy. I tell you what, he is, he's just, a lot of people really have a lot of respect for Bill. And I think you're going to like him too. So hop on over, and hopefully we'll see you there at 11 p.m. Yeah, I did see The Pope's Exorcist. I didn't like it. The Pope's Exorcist movie, I saw it. I actually saw it when it was in the theaters, and I liked the beginning, and I liked the middle, but the end was so stupid. It was just unbelievably dumb that I got so frustrated. I actually got up and left. I did. I got up. I thought, okay, I can't. And really, that's why I honestly I don't watch a whole lot of exorcism movies, because a lot of them are junk. And so, and I find myself being very critical, and I can't actually enjoy it. So enjoy it meaning, okay, yep, they got this right, they got that right, because that's how my brain works. So when I see it, I'm like, well, that's good. That they capture that stage well, they capture that stage well. I mean, so that's what I mean by that. And the right with Anthony Hopkins was phenomenal. Now, I will absolutely tell you, The Rite was just amazing. So was Nefarious. If you've not seen Nefarious, Nefarious was really fantastic. That was just they did just a tremendous job on that. As a matter of fact, I know the Exorcist, who they spoke uh, to kind of get an idea of what's real and what's fake. So, and you could tell, I could absolutely tell, and I'm not, the individual has not made it known, which is fine. But I know the folks who worked on The Rite, and I know who they worked with, and so you can tell that they worked with somebody who was credible, and he is. Yeah, Nefarious is fantastic. Nefarious is truly they captured what the demonic can do quite easily, very, very easily. And so I think, yeah, I tell you what, there's a Dana. Dana is asking, what about the new Exorcist trailer? I got to be honest with you. I do the best that I can not to judge a movie based on the trailer. However, I did see the trailer and I thought, why? That is what I mean. When I saw it, for me, I just thought, this is the worst junk I've ever seen in my life. And to me, it's sad because you have The Exorcist, the Exorcist movie, which is it's phenomenal, and especially with the reality and how real some of these things actually do occur. And when you have the trailer of the new Exorcist, I just thought, why would you ruin a classic with that junk? So but again, I'm gonna. I'm not going to try to judge a movie based on a 30-second or 1 minute trailer. So, well, thank you there, Judy. And so I have watched The Nun. I have not watched The Nun 2. So I'm not in a rush. Honestly, I don't watch a lot of horror movies because a lot of them are just junk. And I can't see, when I watch a movie, I like to analyze it. And so for me, like, for example, The Rite. So when I analyze the movie The Rite with Anthony Hopkins, I'm thinking, okay, they got it right. Because actually, Father Gary Thomas is an exorcist in the Roman Catholic Church, and it's based on his life in California. He lives in California. And you can tell based on the movie that they clearly got it right. Literally, no pun intended. But I just thought it was, The Rite was phenomenal. Nefarious was phenomenal. But the Pope's Exorcist, no, I got up and left. I did. I got up and left and said, nope, that's it. And it's a shame. It's a shame because they could have done, if they had not done what they did at the end of the movie, then I think it would have been okay. But they didn't need to do that. See, that's the thing. They didn't need to go that extra mile. You know what I mean? Those of you who've seen the movie, I don't want to spoil it for you because there are some people out there who haven't seen it. But at the end, they just didn't need to do that because actually I think that ruined it. The beginning and the middle were good because it showed what oppression looks like. It showed what demonic infestation looks like. And I thought that was well done. But then it got into, I left because it was so dumb. I did leave because there's a certain part at the very end where I just like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm finished. This is stupid. This is stupid. And so, yeah, I did leave. So anyway, I just think they ruined that, and they didn't need to go that extra mile of stupidity in that movie. And they did. And sometimes Hollywood has a tendency, they have to make things bigger than what they are. And you don't have to. You don't have to. You just don't. See, like the movie The Exorcist, the reason is that's such a classic, besides obviously the head spinning. It's like, okay. But when you make movies like that, you don't have to make it so unrealistic that it becomes that it's stupid, that it's fiction. And I think that's what it is. This movie tries to portray itself as nonfiction. But then at the end, you clearly know it's fictional. And so you ruin it. At least that's with me. Okay. So here's how we do this show, everybody, so that you can get an idea for those of you who are new here, who've never been here, what I do is on the first hour, I give a presentation. I teach about a particular topic, whatever topic it is that I'm like, hey, let's talk about this. So I teach about a particular topic for the first hour. And then the second hour, I will open it up to questions that whatever questions you guys have that's related to the paranormal or whatnot. So I'll be here a little bit after 9 p.m. My show technically stops around 9, but I'll be here a little bit later for Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And well, actually not. No, I won't be on Facebook because I'm on KGREDB radio tonight. So you guys will have to go to TikTok tonight. But anyway, I'm speaking the very end, Sylvia, the very end of the movie, where the very end, as far as the Pope's exorcist, where he begins to float. So there. Okay. Yeah, I can, Cooper, but let's do that afterwards. Let's do that at 8 p.m. Eastern, okay? So let's get into our conversation for this evening. This is what we're going to talk about tonight. And a lot of people, especially now, have a deep desire to want to paranormal investigate. So, because people have the desire to paranormal investigate, I think it's important for me, and I love the paranormal, and I'm not going to apologize to anybody for it, but it's also important for me to be able to teach people about it. I get, listen, Jimmy, I'm not denying levitation exists. I've seen a form of levitation. That's not what I'm talking about. You'll have to watch the movie at the end, and then you'll understand what I'm saying. But so it's not levitation is the problem; it's how they went about it. So you'll just watch the end. You'll see what I mean. So tonight we're going to talk about. There's a lot of people who contact me and say, Bishop Long, I want to be a paranormal investigator. What do I do? Well, I'm going to get to that because I think it's important to that's Jimmy, you're good, bro. And I appreciate you asking that question, actually, Jimmy, because I didn't want people to think that levitation doesn't exist, because it actually does. So I appreciate you asking. So tonight is for those people who want to be a paranormal investigator or who want to investigate. And I'm going to give you tips from things that I've learned, not only as a paranormal investigator, but as an exorcist. Because for me, I need to teach. I'm passionate about teaching. I taught kids with special learning disabilities and behavior disorders. I taught college. I was the dean of a college. So for me, education is very, very important. Okay. The first time that I investigated was 35 years ago. 35 years ago. So hold your questions until 8 p.m., folks, okay? So 8 p.m., because I'm going to do this presentation now. So it was 35 years ago, and I investigated Waverly Hills in Louisville, Kentucky. And it was actually a buddy of mine. We went up there, and back then, the owner didn't care who went up to Waverly Hills. As a matter of fact, he was actually wanting people to go up there to destroy it, which is a shame, because actually the previous owner wanted to destroy Waverly Hills completely and build a huge Jesus statue. As a matter of fact, next week, I'm going to do a presentation on Waverly Hills this next week. So just to make sure you tune in next Friday. And so he actually wanted people to go there to destroy it, to vandalize it, because he was going to destroy the thing anyway. And so a buddy of mine, we went up there, and I remember going like into the first floor. So we went through a window, and it was a huge open area. And I remember shelves were everywhere, like the drawers, the 5 desks, whatever they're called. And I remember there were papers everywhere. You looked on them, and there was patient's information. I mean, it was crazy how things were just left there, and sensitive information. But of course, I was a teenager, that I really didn't think much about it. But so I remember then there was a wheelchair that was on its side, and it was an old rusty wheelchair. But we began to hear like a little child cry. And now, again, I wasn't a seasoned investigator at this time. I was just with my buddy. We were at the Waverly Hills in Louisville, Kentucky. And so we said, let's go upstairs, because it sounded like it was coming from upstairs. So we went upstairs, and it echoes. The hallways echoes. So we went upstairs, and it was down the hallway. I remember down the hallway that we could definitely tell it was down in that area. So as we got closer, the crying got louder. And I couldn't tell if it was a little boy or a little girl, but it definitely was a child. No doubt about it. It was a kid's cry. And I actually thought that maybe a kid got up there, was playing around, and just got lost and couldn't get out, because it is a huge place. Waverly Hills is massive. So as we get closer, it was in the bathroom. And so we go into the bathroom, and they had those metal stalls there, the really, really old-timey metal stalls. And I remember opening the first stall and nothing, but the crying was definitely in the bathroom. I opened the second stall. I was like, well, it has to be the third stall. So I'll try to open the third stall. It was locked. And I can't remember if I said it or if he said, who's in here, what's your name or something. And I tried to open it, and it sounded like someone, thank you for the gifts. It sounded like someone had actually took a sledgehammer and slammed that metal bathroom stall, and it shook violently. I mean, the whole thing shook. Now, this could not have been a child. There's no way. This was an Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Incredible Hulk slam. And we took off. So I remember running down those stairs. Like I said before, I ran down those. I don't think I actually ran on a step. I think I jumped over the stairs. We were gone. And then as soon as we got to the bottom floor, we saw that that wheelchair, the wheel that it was clearly rusted, was spinning. It was just spinning, just like this. And we thought, no. This, again, I wasn't an exorcist at this time. I really wasn't an investigator at this time. I was just a person who just wanted to explore Waverly Hills. Wow. I'm telling you, I'll never forget it. But that was my first case. That was the first incident of a paranormal investigating, if you will. And it was scary. It was really, but I'll never, ever, ever forget that like, I don't know if it was a hammer or what it was, but something hit that stall, and it hit it so hard. I couldn't see it. I couldn't go inside because the stall was locked. But something hit it so hard that the whole thing shook. The whole bathroom, so all three of the stalls shook. So I just, nope, that's it. I was like, Now, of course, as an investigator, I would have said, oh, good, let's get the tools out. Get the equipment out. That's what I would have done. But, I was not prepared. I wasn't obviously educated. I didn't really know what I was doing at that time. But that was my first time paranormal investigating. And it opened my eyes, I think, then to the possibility that there's something else out there besides this dimension that we're living in. So this is why I want to do. I'm going to teach you a little bit about what you need to know as far as paranormal investigating, because it's very important. So here's a couple of things that I want to say. Research the field. Begin by conducting extensive research on paranormal investigation. Learn about the different types of paranormal phenomena, investigative techniques, equipments used, and the history and the current trends in the field, because there's a lot. You have to remember, paranormal investigation is a field that explores unexplained phenomena outside the realm of conventional scientific knowledge. So you have to familiarize yourself with the general concept of paranormal investigation. So read introductory books or articles that provide an overview of the field, its history, the key figures, and common phenomena explained. And again, this is if you're wanting to get involved in paranormal, this is for you. So hold on to the questions. I'll get your questions. Just let me just get through this presentation. I'll get your questions at 8 p.m. I promise. There's a term called parapsychology. Now, parapsychology is a study of paranormal phenomena that investigates psychic abilities, extrasensory perception, which is ESP, telepathy, psychokinesis, other related topics. So you might want to read books and research on parapsychology to understand the scientific investigation of the supernatural and methodologies that people use. You definitely need to investigate different phenomena. So research the specific types of paranormal phenomena that interest you the most. And that can, if you're interested in ghostly apparitions, then focus on that, or poltergeist activity, UFO sightings, near-death experiences, ESP, or any other phenomena. Look for scholarly, real articles, scholarly art from people who actually are in the field. Now, there's a lot of people who give an opinion about something and they've never investigated a day in their life. Now, while I appreciate their opinion, you need to get an opinion from people who've actually investigated, because anybody can tell you their opinion. But unless they've had boots on the ground and they've actually experienced these things, you got to be careful. You got to be careful about, because some people say some things online that are just absolutely insane. Also, you might want to consider reviewing scientific literature. So look at scientific literature that actually investigates paranormal phenomena, which there are. So like peer-reviewed articles and published in the reputable journals, like the Journal of Parapsychology, the Journal of Society of Physical Research, or the Journal of Scientific Exploration. That is something that I encourage you to do. And this is also a very, very important thing to think about. If you want to be a paranormal investigator, please do yourself a favor and do everybody else a favor. Study skeptical perspectives. I am a skeptic by nature. I'm very analytical. So I put my emotions in check when I'm doing a case. And because people have told me a million times that TVs were flown across the room and all this and oh my gosh, everything just exploded. And then I show up and nothing happens. That's happened many, many times. So you must familiarize yourself with skeptical views and criticisms surrounding paranormal investigations, which there are. Investigate organizations and publications that express skepticism towards paranormal claims. Because then you can find out because there are people out there that will fake evidence, believe it or not. And they fake the evidence and they put it all over social media and people click, and then they get a paycheck for putting up fake evidence. So you really need to look at that very, very carefully. And you have to look at that very carefully. But again, there's a difference between, when you're skeptical, which is good, and you should be skeptical. Analyze everything. You must analyze it. But don't be pessimistic. So there's a big difference between the two. I would also encourage you to analyze case studies. And these are the things that I have done now as an exorcist, as a paranormal investigator. So in all the years that I've loved the paranormal, I've researched the paranormal, and all the times I was in the seminary, I studied extensively. So what I did is I looked for well-documented case studies of paranormal investigations. It might involve researching famous like haunted locations, notable UFO encounters, or historical accounts like of a paranormal events. Study how investigators approach these cases and the evidence they presented. That's very important to do, because if you find an investigating team that analyzes it, that tries to debunk everything, that uses whatever tools that they use, then you can absolutely use that and apply that to your own investigating technique, which I think is smart. What I also did is I engaged with academic literature. So I looked for academic papers or even dissertations that have investigated paranormal phenomena, and they're out there. So libraries, university databases, many of them are free, online research platforms like Google Scholar. It's a very valuable resource. What you can do is analyze the methodologies that were used, the research questions that were asked of the family, the data that was collected, and then, of course, the conclusion. Evaluate your sources critically. So ensure that the sources that you reference are reputable and reliable. And you must distinguish between credible scientific research and anecdotal accounts. Pay attention to the expertise and credentials of the authors and consider potential biases. Now, I know some people are going to say there are no such thing as experts in the paranormal community. That's fine if that's what you want to believe. I think there are seasoned investigators, and there are certainly people that are, I would identify as experts in the demonology field, because demonology has nothing to do with the paranormal. I've said this for over 20 years. Demonology is not paranormal. Demonology is theological. You cannot separate the two. You cannot separate theology from demonology. It's impossible. So when you claim to be a demonologist, you are also saying that you have theology training, because with that comes also angelology training. Another thing you might want to consider is maybe going to paranormal conferences and listening to some of the lectures from paranormal groups, seasoned investigators. So attend conferences, and that's going to provide you opportunities to learn from the people who actually work cases. It drives me crazy. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody, but it drives me nuts when people give their opinion on a topic in which they have no physical training in or no experience in. To me, it's like, okay, that would be like me giving someone advice on how to fly a plane, and yet I have no idea how to fly the plane. And just because I read a book on it or I watched the paranormal show, well, that doesn't give you the experience to start teaching people about paranormal research, because there's a lot that goes into paranormal research. It's not just, is anybody here? Can you say anything? Can you do anything? Can you push me? There's a lot more to paranormal research than that. A lot more. You have to remember, paranormal investigation, it's a dynamic field. It has evolving theories, technologies, and a lot of different research. So you need to make sure that you're staying on top of things. Education and training. So here's the deal. You should take the angelology. So here's the deal. If you have the desire to be a paranormal investigator, consider pursuing relevant education and training. And that's hard to do. There's a lot of courses and workshops that are online. There's no certification for a paranormal investigator. So if you're looking for a national certification, there is no national certification. It doesn't exist. Now, a group can say, well, you're certified as a paranormal investigator with us. That's their right, I guess. But to say that you're nationally certified, no, you're not, because there is no such thing as a national certification in paranormal investigating. There is no organization. There is no government organization that oversees that. So the problem is that the people create these institutions, and then they hand out these certifications. You are now nationally certified. By whom? By whom? So there's a lot of people that do that. Be careful about that. Just like I've heard, I'm a certified exorcist. There's no such thing as a certified exorcist. I'm a certified demonologist. There's no such thing as a certified demonologist, because there's no certification in it. What organization certified you? There's no organization that certifies people as far as demonologists. Now, the church can bestow a title upon you, sure, as a religious demonologist. But go to workshops that focus on paranormal investigation, study parapsychology. And some people say parapsychology is a pseudoscience. Well, fine, but still study it. I believe that education and training in paranormal investigation, it can help you provide a strong foundation of knowledge and skills. So look for academic programs. Believe it or not, there are some academic institutions that offer programs and courses and even degrees focused on parapsychology. However, most universities don't offer degrees anymore in parapsychology. They actually used to. I think they stopped in the 70s or 80s. But they do sometimes offer, electives in paranormal studies. Some do. Some actually universities offer like parapsychology as part of their psychology or their consciousness studies program, but those are hard to find. Those are really, because most of people have done away with that. Now, but there are lots of paranormal conferences, so attend some. And a lot of paranormal investigators go there, and these events, many times they cover topics like investigating techniques. They show evidence. They show how they collected data and the data analysis, and also the equipment that they used. And I've had a pretty cool experience with watching some paranormal teams. Like, hey, that's a pretty good idea. I never thought of that, or never. Again, it's learning and putting it in your toolbox. And I absolutely encourage you to consider that. If there's online courses, fine. But folks, you got to make sure you don't learn from somebody who simply read a book and then they're telling you what they learned from that book. Because that's called secondary information, secondary research, technically the name. That's not primary research. Do you know the difference? Primary research is an individual who actually is boots on the ground, who actually works cases. They're the ones who go to people's homes, they gather the evidence, they actually work paranormal cases. That's primary research. Secondary research is someone goes on YouTube, or they go on other social media, or they hear from their friends, or whatever it might be, and then they basically regurgitate the information that they've either watched or heard, but they themselves have never, ever experienced it. I know people for a fact who call themselves demonologists who have never, ever once worked a demonic case, not one time. And I swear to you, if they walked into a location where someone was either possessed or it was a demonic infestation, I know some of these people, they would run out faster than you can say their names. So anybody can say, well, don't do this and don't do that. And well, then how many cases have you worked? Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Hyder. And for those of you offering gifts to the ministry on TikTok, I sincerely appreciate you doing that. And I apologize I haven't thanked all of you individually. But please, I run the show on 3 different computers. So thank you, everybody. Okay. I also encourage you independent study and self-learning. So engage in independent, like reading books, maybe academic papers, research articles on paranormal investigation, which actually there's quite a few. Actually, there's more writing about paranormal investigations than ever before. Mentoring and shadowing. Now, what does that mean? Find someone who is credible, who has actually worked cases, who is willing to mentor you. And well, you don't need to buy a book. I'm telling you everything you need to know here. So I'll tell you all kinds of information here. So mentoring and shadowing. Thank you. So find someone that will mentor you and will allow you to shadow them. It means you'll go along with them while they're investigating. So you got to seek those opportunities to shadow experienced paranormal investigators. And join established investigating groups. Stay away from paranormal groups who think everything is a demonic. Stay away from those people. They're clowns. They're just going to steer you in the wrong direction. As soon as they walk into a location, they're screaming demon. Well, that should invalidate everything that they are as a paranormal investigator. Because number one, they're not using their brains, and they're not being analytical at all. I mean, oh, I see a demon. A demon's there. Oh, shut up. You haven't even gone to the house yet. I mean, come on, give me a break. Everything's a demon. Everything is a demon with these people. Just walk away from those people, because they're going to lead you in the wrong. I'm telling you, they're going to lead you in the wrong direction. You're going to think everything's a demon. That's not the case. So, and also when you join a team, find out how long they've been investigating. And do they charge? If they charge, don't get involved with them. Walk away, because their intent is not pure. They're doing this to make a buck. And they're I mean, to me, it really irritates me when people do this, because it's taking advantage of people's suffering. So stay away from people like that. If they charge, just don't even get involved. I've been in the paranormal community for over 20 years teaching. And I'm telling you, every single team, and every single team that I have met that has charged, they've all dissolved. They've all dissolved. Every single one of them. They fell apart. The teams that stay together are teams that they don't care about how many social media likes they get. They don't care how many people click on their follow. They don't care about that. All they're doing is presenting the evidence. If the homeowners allows them, then they present the evidence. And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But they're not doing it to take advantage of people. They're not doing it to make a buck. They're not doing it to be famous. They're not doing it to get on a television show. Just remember, if you're going to get involved with this, you're going into someone's home. So here's the deal. You can say to me, well, Bishop Long, there's no such thing as an expert in the paranormal field. And then I'm going to say to you, then you need to start thinking about the perception of the family in whose home you have just walked into, and they're going to perceive you as the professional. See, when you walk into someone's home and you have all the equipment and you're going to say, we're going to do the best we can to explain everything, they see you as the expert. You may not see yourself as the expert, but they see you as the expert. And you got to remember that. You got to keep that in your mind, because you're going into someone's home when they're truly terrified. And so for you, you got to make sure that you don't allow your emotions to get the best of you. Control your emotions. Be very analytical. Yep, you're going to hear noises. Yep, you might hear growls. And yep, you might, if you heard a growl, was that someone's stomach? I know it sounds stupid, but when you're quiet and everyone's quiet and someone's stomach, I've done this before. I'm not kidding you. I was with a team. They asked me to participate. And I said, well, I didn't really know the team, but they asked me to just kind of give them feedback on it. So I went to them. I said, okay, I'll go with an investigation with you. So I did. And there was, I think there were 5 people there. And there was one person kind of to the side, and they were doing EVP sessions, which stands for Electronic Voice Phenomena Session, on the digital recorder. And they were saying, is there anyone here? Can you make a noise? And then you heard a, and everybody was, oh my gosh, it's a demon. It's a demon. Oh my gosh. I said, it's not a demon. Your fellow investigator just passed gas. And that's what it was. You see, that's how immediately people, and he knew what he did. It's, I'm sorry. But immediately they just, oh my gosh, that's a demon. No, or a stomach growl. That happens a lot. Your stomach growls and they think it's a demon. So you have to, when you go to a location, put your emotions in check. That's number one. Check them at the door. Because when I go in to someone's home, I am Bishop Long, the exorcist. I am very focused. I'm very analytical. I am going to debunk everything that's happening in that home. By God, I will move heaven and earth to debunk it. And the last thing that I think of is demon. That is the last thing. So if I don't care if I hear the deepest growl, I'm going to think, okay, there must be an animal there. That's what I'm going to think. Not a demon. There's got to be an animal in there. Must be an opossum or I don't know, whatever, but there's probably a wild or some type of animal in there. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to investigate it. I'm not going to think demon until it is quite evident that it's like, okay, I can't deny this anymore. So that's what I mean by that. You have to develop related skills. So what does that mean? If you're going to be a successful paranormal investigator, it requires a range of skills. Critical thinking, data analysis. Folks, we're going to talk about that. Communication, interviewing. You've got to know how to do these things. Photography. audio, video recording, technical equipment usage. These are things that you have to know. You have to enhance these skills. It's going to contribute to your effectiveness as an investigator. You're going to have to get comfortable with interviewing. And you're going to have to ask tough questions. Not because you're being a jerk, but because you need to know, do you or have any members of your family ever had a history of mental illness? I mean, you're going to have to know this. And someone, well, are you taking any medications? Well, what business of that is? Because there are some medications that can cause hallucinations, some medications that can cause other things. And we're not doctors, but we can investigate those medications to determine perhaps maybe the person is thinking that they're actually experiencing this, and perhaps it is a symptom of a medication. See, this is what you have to think of every single time. And some people may not want to share that way, and I get it, I understand it, but you have to have this information in order to determine whether or not you can refute or perhaps accept the paranormal activity. Remember, education and training can provide a foundation, but paranormal investigation, it remains a field without a universally accepted standards. It really does. It's important to understand the subject with an open mind, critical thinking, ethical considerations. Another thing that you can do also is consider joining paranormal organizations. So connect with a local or national paranormal investigating organization or groups and participate in their activities. Attend meetings, network with experienced investigators. Now, remember, paranormal organizations like paranormal groups can be a valuable step in becoming a part of a community of like-minded individuals and gaining practical experience in the field. So, and because there's always going to be somebody out there who's going to say everything is a demon, everything is a demon, everything is a demon. It's like, okay, no, actually read your scripture. It's not, everything's not a demon. But you get tired of arguing the same point. So when you belong to an organization of people that are open-minded, but still analytical, then it kind of it helps. Okay. So look for paranormal organizations that operate in your area or even a national scale. Explore their websites. Is everything demon, demon, demon? Go to the next website. Go to the social media pages. Learn about them. The membership requirements. Are there any? Some have membership requirements. If they have meetings, go to the meetings. Remember, you have every right to investigate that group just as much as they have every right to investigate you, as to determine whether or not it's a good match. So you just don't want to associate yourself with people that are clear, playing exorcists and demonologists on the weekend. Stay away from those people. Just don't get involved in those type of people. Offer your skills that can accept that can help the paranormal team. So if you're going to learn from the paranormal team, then think about your own skills. What do you bring to the table? If you want them to spend time training you, then you got to also tell them what you're good at and how you can help them. It's mutually beneficial. And now here's what you're going to have to understand. Most of the time, when you're starting out as paranormal investigating, people think it's always the television shows. It is not. It is not. Folks, that television show could have been, they could have investigated that location for 8 hours or more. And you're watching a 1 hour show. And actually not even that, because then they have commercials that's embedded in that 1 hour show. So technically, you're not even watching a 1 hour show, and yet they probably investigated 8 to 10 hours to get that 1 hour of evidence. So what does that mean to you? Well, if you're going to be brand new and you're going to join a group, you need to understand. If you are good with media management, that's powerful. If you're good with social media, bring that to the table. But you might be asked to go over the data and analyze the data. That is tedious. I will admit it. That anybody who's a paranormal investigator, you know what I'm talking about. You're sitting there and going through all the video and all the audio. And that can be unbelievably time-consuming and tedious. It is. It can be so exhausting, but it can also be very, very enlightening, and it can be exciting when you catch that evidence. So your team is depending on you to listen carefully for the EVPs and for any type of manifestations on video. I'm telling you, that's a lot of work. That's the boring side. Well, some people love it. Now, some people love doing that. I shouldn't say that. There are some people, they live, when they go paranormal investigating, they cannot wait to analyze the EVPs, analyze the pictures, analyze the video. That's what they love. And let me tell you something right now. If you love doing that, make sure you tell the team you love doing that, because you're going to be a diamond in the rough, because there's a lot of people that don't like it. A lot of people just like going to a location. Is anybody here? What's your name? Using the equipment. Most people like doing that, but there's not a whole lot of people that actually really enjoy data analysis. And that's what it's called. And if you like it, you're going to be the star. You'll be, I'm telling, because it's not always the people that says, can you hear it? Can you make a noise? That's not the star. The star is the individual who goes through all the data analysis and picks up that EVP, or picks up that audio sound, that even a disembodied voice, or that shadow on the camera, and you show it to your team. Man, you're the superstar. The people like that are very important to a paranormal team. I'll be honest, I hate it. I don't like it. I'm too distracted. So data analysis for me is that's like nails on the chalkboard. It is. That's just not something I enjoy, but other people do. I'm sorry, I can't bring you on. I'm sorry, because I have 3 different computers running at the same time. Okay. If you decide to commit more formally, then become a member of the organization. You should. Also, but here's what you need to listen very carefully. If you're going to join a paranormal team, then you need to understand what are their rules about online communities, because there are some people that join a paranormal team and then they go online and they saw all kinds of stupid stuff. You don't want to do that, because then you might get kicked off the team. Because if the team has worked their butts off to establish credibility in this field by having people who are educated and who are having people trained, and not everything is a demon and they don't charge, that integrity is something that you work hard for. I've worked for 20 years to build my integrity in the paranormal community. And it is very easy for somebody who associates with you to go online and say some of the most ignorant, craziest things. And then people say, aren't they with Bishop Long? And that could hurt your credibility. So do not, just be careful about what you do on online communities. When you join them and your input, make sure what you're saying is 100% true and it's in alignment with the team that you belong with. So you might want to consider that. Also, when I talked about investigating skills, you have to enhance your investigation skills. Interviewing techniques, crucial. Evidence collection, crucial. Photography, audio recording, data analysis. Develop a strong investigating skill. It really is important for effective investigation. So research and study. Now, you got to develop a solid understanding of theories and concepts, methodologies used in paranormal investigation, because there's a lot. There's a lot to this. There's more to this than you may know. And so a lot of people just think, well, you just hop in there and just kind of use your little recorder and do whatever you got to do, and no big deal. Well, no, it is a big deal, because there's a lot more to it. And I'm going to talk about, let's see if I can just hold on one second. Yeah, because like some of these things, no, we're not going to use that. Yeah, hang tight for just a second. I'm going to pull up this these notes here that I, so like yeah, we know pin, blah blah blah. All right, EVPs are electronic voice phenomena, so you need to know how to do that. And I'll talk to you guys about that in just a second, about how you should do that, what you should do, what you should not do. I'll kind of go over that in just a second. I could easily, my gosh, I could do 5 hours on this topic. Really, seriously, because there's so much evidence, there's so much here. And yep, there's no pay. Nope, no pay. We do this 100% free. I do this 100% free. I don't get paid for any of this. So, you know, learn terminology. These are called jargon terms, and that's with every field. They have jargon terms. So like if I say the Holy Trinity, transubstantiation, consubstantiation, the principle of double effects, intellect, if I go on and on, those are all theology. Those are all philosophical jargon terms that you would not necessarily be familiar with unless you studied it. It's the same principle for paranormal investigation. So like apparition. So let's, if we say apparition, what we're saying, it's a visual representation. It's a disembodied entity or spirit. It could take the form of a full person. It could, or a faint mist. Cold spots, obviously. Cold spots or cold patches of air. The theory is that the ghost draws energy from the air, which leaves the cold spot behind. That is the theory. There is called the DVP. Now, DVP stands for direct voice phenomena. It's an audio that's heard live rather than on a recording. So there are actual devices. I have one. It's a digital recorder where you can hear the EVP live while you are actually having a conversation. Is there anyone here? You can actually hear, yes. What is your name? This. What, blah, blah, blah. That's called, now that's different. That would be than an EVP. You're still doing EVP session, but it's called a direct voice phenomenon. Then there's ectoplasm. Many people know about this, have heard about this. It's kind of mist associated with paranormal activity. There's EMF. EMF is really important. EMF stands for electromagnetic frequency or field. It's a combination of electric and magnetic energy, which is generally experienced in the presence of spirits. Also, when people say that they feel sick to their stomach, or they feel like their hallucination, or like they feel like someone is watching them, high EMF readings can do that. So you have an EMF reader. And so what you do is you always do what's called a baseline reading before you do the investigation. That's crucial. Because if you can show a baseline reading before the investigation starts, then now you have, okay, if it's baseline, this is what we have. And then when you start investigating and you do an EMF reading and it elevates, that's all data. So you say, okay, we have a dramatic increase in EMF reading when we said this or when we did that, versus before we even started, it was flatline, if you will. No, the EVP divination. There's a EVP divination is when you try to communicate with the spirit, to control the spirit, get information from the spirit, whatever it is. We're trying to find the identity. We have to know the identity. So let me just make that clear. That's a good question. Folks, remember this. As an investigator, I have to know who I'm dealing with or what I'm dealing with. So if you have activity in your home, then the only way that I'm going to know what you're dealing with is if I have an investigation there. Because we have to collect the data. We have to determine if we can debunk the activity. That's the only way. We can't do it. There is no other way. So when people always tell me, well, I don't like paranormal investigating because you're doing the work of the devil. Then how are we then supposed to help families? Because the only way that we do this is through investigation. Because we have to determine whether or not it could be high EMF. Or there's other issues, exposed wiring, which could be at high EMF readings, or other issues that could cause hallucinations or other problems. So we have to do the investigation. That's the only way we can know. So believe me, I've had this before, where people say, you're doing the work of the devil. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're going to burn in the fiery pits of hell, blah, blah, blah. And they went on and on and on for years and years and years and years. Well, they decided to go out and paranormal investigate. And then they went to a location that they shouldn't have gone to. And then they came home and all hell broke loose in their home. It was violent. And the very same people for years that kept saying that I was going to burn in the fiery pits of hell because I was doing paranormal investigations contacted me and actually said, I need help. Can you please come over my house and figure this out? The same people that actually attacked me for years and said I was going to burn in hell because I was a paranormal investigator. But when it happened to them, all bets were off. Please come to my home. And I did. Fine. Because they weren't at a point in that time in their life to accept the truth and the reality that there are some people who are truly terrified. And so I didn't judge those people. But now I did say, now you understand why I do this. And they, of course, yes, absolutely. They completely understood why I got death threats. 17 years ago, I was getting death threats. It was terrible. In 2003, I went to a paranormal conference in Indiana. They had to hire 4 police officers at a paranormal conference because I was teaching about the paranormal investigating, the dangers with it, demonology. And the death threats was so serious, they had to hire 4 police officers. And here I am at a paranormal conference talking to people about their spiritual issues and blessing them. And then I have police officers right behind me. So you got to remember, back 17 years ago, it was a different world than what it was today. It wasn't like it is today. 17 years ago, it was taboo, and people were vicious and really off the rocker, and so it was crazy. Not yet, Ghost. We're going to actually have a team going up there, and they're investigating now. So, okay, there's some other that's called entity. When we say entity, that's an intelligent being who may or may not have been human. EVP is called electronic voice phenomenon. It's an audio. It's heard on playing back on the digital recorder. That's what an EVP is. Now we can't hear that with our ears. So if we have our earpieces off, we couldn't hear that with just our ears. If we could, that's called a disembodied voice. Okay, that's different than an EVP. Now, of course, the digital recorder is going to pick up on the disembodied voice too. But there's a difference between an EVP and a disembodied voice. Ghost, human paranormal entity, ghost lights. They're unexplained lights that occur. There's a lot of debates on these ghost lights. Manifestation is a presentation of paranormal activity. That's the official term. Orbs, folks. Orbs are unexplained balls of light. However, most people in the paranormal dismiss orbs. So if you're going around saying, oh, look at this orb, we have demons in our home. No, you don't. Chances are you have either dust particles or it's an insect. It's one or the other. Very rare. It is rare where you'll see an orb and there's something else there. Most of the time it's dust particles. Matter of fact, there's a clown going around on social media. And this is what he does. He is a clown because he calls himself an exorcist. So he goes outside and there are weeds. Folks, I'm not telling. There are weeds, high weeds that he's walking in. He's kicking up all these weeds and then he's exorcising these demons. And people are saying, oh my gosh, look at all those demons. Look at all of them. They're bugs. He's walking through high weeds and he's kicking up the bugs. They're bugs. That's what they are. They're not demons. And I'm not kidding you. The people fall for hook, line, and sinker. And they truly believe this guy, and he's throwing holy water around like he's performing an exorcism. What are you doing? It's like, good grief. You're blessing the bugs? Thank you. Poltergeist, I'll get your question just like poltergeist. Poltergeist, it means a noisy ghost. From my experience, okay, folks, as an investigator, as an exorcist, I have worked poltergeist cases. I define it as psychic kinetic energy or PK energy. It is usually the outflow of pent-up emotions. That is how I define poltergeist. Poltergeist is not demonic. So I'm going to make that very clear. I know that to be a fact, not an opinion, because I have worked many poltergeist cases. It mimics demonic activity. But here's the difference between the two. With poltergeist cases or psychic kinetic energy, most of the time, fire, electrical appliances will catch fire or light bulbs will pop. Sometimes, and also, things can be thrown, but that's psychic kinetic energy. If it's demonic, then you will have religious objects are desecrated. You're the target of those objects being thrown. I can perform 1 million minor rite of exorcisms in a home that has psychic kinetic energy or poltergeist activity, and it does nothing. It will do absolutely nada, nothing, because it's not demonic. You fix poltergeist activity with finding out who is the one who is releasing these negative energy, who's the one who's releasing the outflow of pent-up emotions. Always, 100% of cases that I've worked in poltergeist cases, it was always someone or people going through extreme emotional stress, causing psychic kinetic energy. And the effect with that would be fire. The number one form of destruction with poltergeist is fire. And then electrical appliances circuiting out, and then light bulbs popping. So that is what I've always found with poltergeist activity. Now, can a negative energy attach itself to the poltergeist energy? Sure, it can, but it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to. When we say shadow people, we're talking about this is a really controversial term, I think, in the paranormal community, because there's so many. There are so many. There's a lot of debate on that. Some say that they're human spirits who can't fully manifest because it takes a lot of energy to manifest. Others say that they're non-human entities with malicious intent. So there's many theories on shadow people. Here's the problem that I have found during and I have performed thousands of investigations over 20 years, and I'm not thousands. I have found that there's no common denominator with shadow people. I can't find the data that shows to me, okay, there are more shadow people with demonic cases versus poltergeist versus residual haunting versus a human spirit. I haven't been able to crack that code. So when I say residual haunting, by the way, for those of you who don't know this, residual haunting is this. When it's energy that's left, and it replays over and over. It's not intelligent. It doesn't interact with you. There is no interaction at all. It's just a constant residual reoccurring energy. Matter of fact, in the battlefield Gettysburg, someone filmed, and I absolutely believe that's legitimate. They filmed, it looks like Civil War soldiers that were walking around, kept walking around. That would have been residual energy. There's no interaction at all. Versus intelligent or interactive haunting. Intelligent or interactive haunting has intent behind it. Versus residual, it does not. And so, gosh, there's so much. Maybe one day I could go on. I really seriously, I could easily do a 5-hour presentation and not even be halfway finished. But I did promise you that I'll take questions, because a lot of people have questions, and I haven't even got, goodness gracious, I didn't even get not even 10% of what I was going to present. No, Lita, a shadow person, usually a family member hanging out with you and your family. I have had cases where it was demonic. So I've also had shadow people where it wasn't violent at all. I had a case once, and even Wilma's sister, she actually, I think it was Wilma's. I think it was Wilma's sister, she saw a shadow person or a shadow dog, if you will. Her grandbaby, if you will, her grand fur baby, she passed away. And she was absolutely convinced that she saw that the dog. I'm absolutely convinced I've seen Kylie. Kylie was a little toy schnauzer who passed away several years ago from cancer. She had old age, and Fuzzy as well. He was a schnauzer, but I'm 100% that I've seen Kylie, no doubt. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Real understand, folks. When you're talking about people ask questions, and I appreciate the theological questions. Feel free to ask as many theological questions as you want. I'll do the best I can to answer them. Heaven is not forced upon you. Heaven is presented to you. We have free will in heaven because angels freely fell while in heaven. So therefore, free will must exist. Furthermore, your loved ones can be in heaven and be here at the same time. But you have to think of multi-dimensions. You have to think of the perception of time and what is time and space. So time and space is something that we create, that we exist within. Heaven exists outside of time and space. It is not restricted to time or space. So therefore, a loved one can certainly be in heaven and be with you at the same time. But see, in our mind, we it's hard to conceptualize, and I get it, because we can't be in two places at once. But I believe we can. So certainly in heaven, that is. Okay. Oh gosh, what direct personal evidence have you seen? Oh my God, I have thousands of EVPs, thousands. I have EVPs for growls of demonic cases. I have a Class A EVP. Class A means you can clearly hear it. There's Class A, Class B, Class C. Class A it's like you can hear me, like I'm talking to you now. Class B, you can hear it. You can kind of make it out. You're like, yeah, I think that's what it says. And Class C is you can't really hear it, but you know something is there. So there's no doubt that the EVPs that I've captured, because I knew that I was alone. So I knew there was no one else there with me. No one. And then when I played back my digital recorder, the recording, and I got an EVP, yeah, it makes you think, okay, it validates the claim. Or soft whispers, yeah, that's happened before too. What empath is, you can actually you can feel the emotions that someone else is going through. Versus poltergeist energy is negative energy that someone is omitting because they're going through extreme emotional stress. Think of and I've given this analogy before. So you're walking down the street, someone is walking towards you. You don't know that person, but you don't want to know that person. That's energy. That's negative energy. Versus someone you don't even know walks into a room, and for some reason, they don't have to say a word, but people flock to that person. That's positive energy. It's the same thing with poltergeist. With someone is going through extreme anxiety and fighting, or a family, there's a lot of inner turmoil. That's psychic kinetic energy. And that creates a poltergeist activity, which many people confuse with demonic. Okay. And again, these are the things. Oh, yeah, Susie, you got to be careful with that. I studied for the Roman Catholic priesthood for 6 years. I received my minor orders there. Yeah, I did study the Latin Rite. I've also studied the Novus Ordo. Now, a lot of people don't like the Novus Ordo, but I haven't seen the Nun too. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Oh, you're very welcome there. Is it Toady? You're very welcome. Yeah, I'll do so. I'll do more. I promise you. I'll do. Okay. So Nessa. Okay. First of all, stop listening to people who are telling you that the tribulation is going to happen this month. They're just trying to scare you. They're just trying to frighten you. They're just trying to do clickbait. They said last week, they guaranteed that this past weekend, the tribulation was going to happen. The rapture was going to happen. They guaranteed it. Here we are. And I said it's not going to happen. The Revelation is very clear about that. Things have to occur if you believe in the rapture, fine. I know there's a lot of people who don't. But if you believe in the rapture, there are things that must occur before the rapture occurs. So, according to Revelation. So and again, there's several different ways that you can interpret Revelation. I taught Revelation for 6 months, right here on this format. And if you want to go to my Facebook page starting January the 8th, every Sunday and Wednesday, I broke it down line by line. I explained everything. So, folks, I promise you, all this stuff that they're peddling to try to scare you, just relax. Just relax. They're just trying to frighten you. They're trying to scare you, and they're doing that on purpose. So it'll happen when it happens. And until then, love and show compassion to everybody. You know, it's I don't get it. Yeah. People are going to do this. They're going to, I know they're going to scare you, but just don't believe it. Just don't believe it. And just relax, because so many people get so concerned about it. Okay. I think that 3 days of darkness that's actually prophesied could certainly happen. Sure. Yeah. Don't worry about the rapture. Don't worry about the rapture. Look, don't worry about that. Look, listen, I don't know your faith. I have friends that are all from all walks of faith. I have friends that are pagan, that are atheists, that are agnostic, that are Muslim, that are Jewish, that are Christian, that are fundamentalists, that are liberal, that are moderate. My belief is, I believe Jesus Christ is my personal Lord and Savior. I believe he's the Messiah. I'm not worrying about the rapture. I don't care. I'm not concerned with it. I can't control it. So therefore I have no reason to worry about it. So for me, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear for you. Nothing to fear. And that's why these people are doing this. They're trying to scare you so that you click on it and follow them, because they have all the information. Folks, that's Gnosticism. Do you understand that? The church Gnosticism is heretical. So what people are doing today, this is modern day Gnosticism. I have information, secret information that you don't have, and I know exactly when the rapture will occur. That's Gnosticism. No, they don't. No, they don't. Just walk away from it. Purgatory. The concept of purgatory, again, those of you who don't know, I have 3 different computers running. So if I'm looking here, I'm looking at people over here and here. So, the concept of purgatory as a specific place or state of existence is not described in the Bible as thing purgatory. It's primarily a doctrine taught within certain branches of Christianity. So the belief is that purgatory holds that it's a temporary state of realm, and that's where souls undergo a process of purification. And the Catholic Church, for those of you who don't know, is the main Christian tradition that officially teaches the doctrine of purgatory. And it's based on a certain biblical passage. For those of you who don't know, I'll be more than happy to tell you. I'm thinking, people say, why do you close your eyes? Because I'm thinking. Second Maccabees chapter 12, verse 46. Second Maccabees chapter 12, verse 46. And it mentions actually prayers for the dead. There's also in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 15. It speaks of being saved as through fire. So there, you can look at a couple of things and argue and debate, and that's fine. If you don't want to agree, you don't believe, that's fine. But that's the best way I can describe it. We don't know, Christian. That's a good question. What types of spirits are these people are communicating grace? We simply don't know. And that's the dangers of paranormal investigating, because you don't know who you're communicating with. And so, and I always tell people, if you're going to paranormal investigate, you need to know that there are consequences, just like there are consequences for going swimming in the ocean. Now, there's not going to be a great white shark by you every single time. There's not going to be a tiger shark by you, or a bull shark by you every single time. But there occasionally can be. And you know the consequences of swimming in the ocean. You're swimming with other creatures that are much bigger than you are, that have bigger teeth than you do, that just focus on eating. So, but you know that. So you go into the ocean knowing the consequences. The same thing that goes into paranormal investigating. When you do this, just understand that you could certainly be investigating with something you shouldn't be investigating with. Oh, Alice, because it's not important, because they did the same thing in the Corinthian church. They even in Ephesians, people stopped working in the first century AD because they absolutely were convinced that the second coming of Christ was going to happen at any moment. And the people actually stopped working, and Paul told them, go back to work. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about when that's going to happen. It doesn't matter when it's going to happen, because we can't control when it's going to happen. The point is we have today, we have right now. So you make life as best as you possibly can by loving people, by showing compassion to people, by helping people. And that's what you need to work on now, right now, every single day. Don't assume you're going to have tomorrow, because you may not. And if you live your life that way, then I think that's safe and healthy. Okay. Well, so any other questions? I have some articles that I could easily talk about. Well, the Revelation says it will be here. I do. I have my online training course. Yeah, it's online. It's you learn angelology, demonology, paranormal studies, and genealogy. Genealogy is actually important. A lot of people don't realize how important genealogy is in paranormal investigating, because when you go back to let's say a location, it's important to actually try to learn the history of that location. You might be really surprised that it could be built on burial grounds. There could all kinds of things that could occur in this particular land. So genealogy is important. I think it is. Yeah, Punky, I said that it'll be here, New Earth. Yeah, Dana, we talked about shadows. We don't know. The shadow people that I've seen some have been very scary, and some have not been. Well, that's the thing. As far as judgment and condemnation, it exists outside of time and space. So when someone passes away, when I perform last rites and I can't get there in time, and let's say they pass right, there's a prayer of absolution that I do. I don't find a problem with purgatory. I don't see an issue with purgatory. Purgatory for me is it's a form of cleansing the stain of sin from the soul, because we're united with God, who is a pure spirit. So to me, I just don't see purgatory. I think that's a purging of sin, and I just don't see it as a bad thing, as a bad situation at all. No, Revelation speaks of that the new earth will be formed. Well, here, the new heavens. Oh, genealogy is okay. Sure. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with genealogy. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to share a couple things with you, and I'll get back to your questions in just 1 second. Yeah, trust in Jesus is all you need, my friend. Okay. So my friends there, Zach on Ghost Adventures. Paranormal investigators Zach Bagans, Aaron, and Jay and Billy explore a new haunted locations and uncover bone-chilling evidence of supernatural forces when Ghost Adventures returns Wednesday, October the 4th at 9 p.m. on the Discovery Channel. Now, the new season begins with a 2-hour special, Ghost Adventures Devil Island, which follows the crew as they investigate the deceptively named Angel Island across the San Francisco Bay, once home to an immigration station with a notorious history of torture and despair. The team faces residual anger and ecstasy emanating from a demonic darkness. Not good. Later this season, Zach and the crew delve into the paranormal activity haunting Nevada's mystical Sutro ghost town and explore whether an old mining tunnel is fueling the abandoned settlement's ominous aura. Braving a brutal winter blizzard, the team will also confront an aggressive presence at an isolated former ranch off the coast of Utah's Great Salt Lake. Venturing into California, the team attempts to unravel the mysteries of the supernatural activity haunting Scotty's Castle in Death Valley, Orcutt Ranch in Los Angeles, and a family residence in Northridge. And during each investigation, the Ghost Adventures crew works from dusk to dawn to document, analyze paranormal evidence, discovering the truth about these chilling locations. So, there you go. If you're interested, now you'll know where it's going to be. 4 p.m. October 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard on the Discovery Channel for Ghost Adventure fans out there. Thank you very much for the gifts, and thank you for the almost 85,000 likes there on TikTok. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I have read the 13th book. Here's something. No. No, because I have not. I have not worked with the New England Ghost Project. I would have no problem doing so. No, I have no problem. No. Now, laity can baptize, as long as if the person is a baptized member of the church, and they baptize using in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Someone is asking about last rites. Can laity perform last rites? Well, during last rites, there's an absolution of sins. And so that would be the problem. So the official, in the Roman Church, because that's where I studied, the administration of the sacraments, including the sacrament of anointing of the sick, also known as last rites. That's typically performed by a priest. However, there are situations where a layperson, especially in cases of emergencies or necessity, may provide certain rites or prayers. So, like if a priest is unavailable, for instance, in a life-threatening situation, a layperson can offer prayers in comfort for the sick and dying person. Absolutely. They can pray with the individual, read scripture, offer words of encouragement and support. In particularly, the family and friends of the sick person can provide a spiritual and emotional comfort during these very difficult times. However, the administration of the anointing of the sick that you're referring to, which includes the anointing with blessed oil and the sacramental prayers, is ordinarily reserved for priests. And the sacraments hold an important place within the Catholic Church. So that's in case information, I guess, if you need to know. The worst case that I had, it was an incubus case. Yeah, she was 68. It was a very violent case. And actually, I had her daughter on. Her daughter's, she's, she's not a kid. She's in her 40s, and we talked, and she was on the show, and she described what happened to her mom. That was very violent. Yeah, that was violent, and that was really the one case in all the cases that I've ever worked, because normally when I work a case, I'm very stoic. But on that case, that was I became emotionally involved, and that was the one case that actually made me want to quit. Walk away. I was very close to walking away from serving in ministry in that case. So that I was in a crossroads at that time, and the demonic was definitely attacking me intellectually and emotionally, because I had been working with her for 3 years and I could not deliver her from this horrible attack. And then I kept thinking, well, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not smart enough. Maybe I'm not holy enough. Maybe I'm not good. Maybe. I've talked about this before. So I went to my mentor and I talked to him, and I said, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And he's an older priest. And he just said, James, hey, I got an idea for you. Get off the cross and let Jesus have a try. And I was really mad when he said that, because I was opening my heart up to him. It was like, because I was really emotional and stressed and nothing was working. And when he said that, I was like, how dare you? I'm talking to you about something that I'm thinking about walking away from ministry. And he said, yes, and you're not Jesus. So stop pretending to be. Get off the cross. But I needed that swift kick in the rear, because he reminded me that I'm not doing anything, that I'm an instrument that God is using, and that God will deliver that person in God's time, not mine. And if it takes a year, fine. If it takes 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, fine. And once I've learned how to, I surrender to that, then I no longer was ever tempted to say, maybe I shoulda, woulda, coulda, or maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe that ended. That ended immediately, because I had to learn very, very quickly that as an exorcist, I'm not doing anything, that God is working through me as his instrument, and that the person will be delivered in God's time, not mine. And he's right. He was 100% right. And really every exorcist, I think, goes through that in life. I believe that. I think every exorcist has that crossroad moment where they work a case and they can't get it to make it go away. And then they just wonder if there's somebody else smarter, holier, someone else better. I think that's the devil creeping in, saying, you know what, you're just no good. And so that's what happens. What happens towards the end? Towards what end? What do you mean? Well, thank you there, Dana. Well, we believe they go to the lake of sulfur. Now, sometimes there are some exorcists that believe that they will just simply leave the body at a very weakened and vulnerable state. But Revelation says how they will be thrown into the lake of sulfur. So they ultimately surrender their intellect and will to Christ. They don't give themselves to Christ, but they're surrendering their intellect and will. They can't fight anymore, because the exorcist's intellect and will and the demonic's intellect and will are at battle during an exorcism. One will win, one will lose. And that's how it works. She was delivered. She was finally delivered. The last year of her life, last time I talked to her, she described them as bed walkers, like 10-pound dogs or cats. I can't remember. I thought she told me dogs, but she described them as like a 10-pound dogs walking on her bed, and she could feel them walking on her bed, and they would creep closer and closer and then do terrible things. And but the last year of her life, she could still feel them walking on her bed, but they would no longer touch her. So, and then when she passed for natural causes, the family asked me to officiate or preside at her funeral. So, that was tough, because I grew to love her. I grew to love her family. They're amazing people. They're good people. And, but that was one case that I got close to leaving. Well, there are exes in Italy. Well, that is interesting. As far I have found that certain cultures that are more apt to believe in exorcisms seem to have higher rates of them. And you can see that spread throughout different cultures, and even through psychology. I read a couple psychology in articles and dissertations from people. and so, or people who are going for the doctorate in psychology. So it's clear that there's something. The data is showing that culture has a huge impact on how many exorcisms are performed on each culture. But yeah, there are some cultures that are more accepting of possession than others. Yeah, we don't mention demonic names. I have, to answer your question there, Bishop. Only we just don't mention demonic names because it's a form of summoning. So the only time I'm going to mention a demonic name is if I'm teaching clergy demonology, so that they know the root demonic names and who they are, what their attributes are. And other than that, on a public forum, we just kind of stay away from that. Yeah. Well, there are in Rome, actually, there in Rome, you can there's a school that that you can go to and learn the demonology and training there. For those of you, by the way, this is by Rebecca Murray, the Ghost Town Terror. Have you seen that season 2? If you like the show Ghost Town Terror, well, there is a season 2 out that's coming out, Travel Channel, which, by the way, I haven't heard anything yet from the Eli Roth show, Legion of Exorcists. As you know, I'm a cast member there on the season 1. We don't know anything about season 2 yet. So we haven't heard. The ratings were good, but right now they're having the strike, the writer's strike. So we just simply don't know. But I'll let you know if there's a season 2 on Eli Roth Presents Legion of Exorcists show. I'll let you know. But Travel Channel, the Ghost Town Terror, returned for season 2 on September 28th with episodes that find the Broussard family under attack by supernatural entities. So new episodes of the 6-episode season will air on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this is what they released. On the outskirts of Anaconda, Montana, sits Gunslinger Gulch, a sprawling ghost town and a guest ranch. When the Broussard family answered the beckoning call of a new life in Big Sky country, they soon discovered the ranch offered anything but the serene Montana lifestyle. Instead of peace, the menacing supernatural activity plagued the family. So that's going to be starting on September the 28th, Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's called the Ghost Town Season 2, for those of you who are interested in that particular show. Yeah, a lot of people like Season 1. A lot of people really enjoyed that. No, it's okay. That's fine. Right, yeah. That's all good. It's all good. Yeah, it's all good, there, Bishop. No. That's a good question, Dana. Someone's asking, does an incubus go after someone who is a single woman rather than a married woman? Actually, I have not found any evidence that would validate married or single. There's nothing that shows me, because I've worked several incubus and succubus cases, and from the data, there's nothing that shows that one is more prone to the other or than the other. So I haven't found that to be true. And actually, and in the same thing with the succubus, for when the succubus will attack men, I've not found married men are more prone or single men are more prone. I've just not found that to. Well, thank you there, Christopher. I've not found that to be. There's no data that validates it, because let's say if I do 50 cases of incubus cases, and 40 of the 50 were primarily of single women, then I could say, well, the data is kind of showing that, but really the data doesn't show that at all. An incubus is the demonic entity that attacks women on a sexual nature, and a succubi is a demonic entity that attacks men on a sexual nature. It's very violent. It's very aggressive. And the 68-year-old that I got to be careful. I got to be careful how much information because there could be people watching. She required medical attention. Let's just say that when I got involved, she needed medical attention. Yeah. Okay. A first look, by the way, guys, this is by Brad Miska. There's a first look at Hulu's paranormal Living for the Dead series. Yep, you heard me right, folks. Hulu has a brand new paranormal show out called Living for the Dead series. So put this on your calendar if you're interested. It says here, Bloody Disgusting has a first look at that's Bloody Disgusting website, and Hulu's paranormal series Living for the Dead, premiering all at once October 18th, 2023, only on Hulu. So executive producers Kristen Stewart and from the creators of Queer Eye, and the new series follows the fabulous ghost hunties as they explore some of the world's most haunted locations, helping the living by healing the dead. In the series, 5 fabulous hunter crisscross the country, helping the living by healing the dead. As they explore some of the world's most infamous haunted locations, they'll shed light on those not seen and illuminate untold stories. Together, they'll push past boundaries to bring acceptance to the misunderstood living and the dead. So that is the Living for the Dead Ghost Hunties. So for those who, again, it's going to be on Hulu, and it's going to air October the 18th. And there you go. So now you have that information. And I can say that was a show in which they asked me to jump on as a guest prior to my filming with the Legion, and I said okay. So you might see an episode in which I have joined in and had a good conversation with the folks. They're cool people. No, I don't think Hulu is free. No, I don't. Blue Jello, I don't. I am very impatient when it comes to writing books because I have so many things that I'm working on right now at once. So there's just so much. It's hard for me to find time to dedicate to writing down all of the cases that really stand out. I should. But it's very difficult to find the time. Of course I have my own diary, if you will, but it takes a lot of time to put that into a book form. So, I do have an online class you're more than welcome to take. So, here's something that I want to share. Listen to this. And I want to know what you guys think. If you're paranormal investigators or if you like the paranormal, tell me if you think this is true. This is by Neve Glennon. Neve Glennon by Movie Web. This is what Neve says. These are the 10 most convincing paranormal TV show episodes. Tell me if you think that this is actually true. Neve Glennon. So, humanity's fascination with the paranormal existed long before the conception of film and television. The idea of not knowing what happens after we die is enough to keep anyone up at night, according to Neve. So believing in the supernatural is a way to provide meaning and comfort for many. Combine this with the audience's love of horror, and you get paranormal TV shows, which often present themselves as factual investigations into the supernatural. While in a lot of instances, it can be clear where stuff is added in for shock value, and there have been some moments where it's a little more difficult to explain away some of the otherworldly occurrences. So this is Neve's 10 episodes of paranormal TV shows that could turn the strongest of skeptics into a true believer. And here they are. And I'm curious to see if you agree with this. They say day one. A day one episode on 28 Days Haunted. Day one is number 10. Day one, it's 28 Days Haunted, is a Netflix original series where 3 teams of paranormal experts spend 28 days in several of the most haunted locations in the United States. Fans of The Conjuring will likely enjoy this one, as the experiment is based on the theories of Ed and Lorraine Warren, though it plays out like your standard ghost hunting show. So the first group, I'm just curious. If you guys like this, let me know. But it's called 28 Days. It's a Netflix original series. They say it's number 10. Number 9, and I could see this. The Haunted Halls of Waverly Hills Hospital. I've been to Waverly Hills many times, and I can tell you that place is unbelievably haunted. So it's one of the greatest things about BuzzFeed Unsolved is actually that not a lot happens. Shane is obviously adamant that the supernatural isn't real, and even for true believers, Ryan is quick to brush off any strange noises. Throughout the episodes, the pair have gone to some of the most haunted places in existence, but still nothing out of the ordinary happens. Rather than presence of ghosts, it's the stories behind the locations that put viewers on the edge of their seats. Yet in the episode, The Haunted Halls of Waverly Hills Hospital, the pair has to deal with some out of the ordinary events. And I agree with that. It's called The Haunted Halls of Waverly Hills Hospital, BuzzFeed Unsolved. That's the name of it. This one is, the next episode is called The Lady in the Window, Ghost Hunters. So if you haven't seen that episode, take a look. The Lady in the Window. Ghost Hunters is one of America's most popular paranormal television shows, focusing on the Atlantic Paranormal Society, or TAPS. Throughout the show, the team is called upon to investigate a variety of paranormal phenomena, though not all the haunts are convincing. However, later down the line in season 12, one of the show's scariest episodes aired, The Lady in the Window. It takes place on Pillars Estate in Albion, New York. So you might want to check that out. The Lady in the Window, Ghost Hunter, Season 12. Lady in the Window. The next, they say, Bloodline is number 7, The Holzer Files. So The Holzer Files is the name of the show. A group of paranormal experts reopened the case files of America's first ghost hunter, Dr. Hans Holzer. Together with the help of Holzer's daughter, they continue his research into unexplained hauntings and paranormal phenomena. Holzer was best known for his work on the Amityville horror case, entering the house with medium Ethel Myers, who started up the claim that it was built over a Native American burial ground. With much has come out about the Amityville credibility since, Holzer knew of and worked on several other cases that had been a bit more authentic. So it's called Bloodline, and you might want to check that out. And that is, again, on the Holzer Files. I have not seen that. Route 666, Ghost Adventures, is rated number 6. During one of the Halloween special Route 666, the Ghost Adventures paranormal investigators took a trip to Goatman's Bridge, the De Soto Hotel, Concordia Cemetery. Both of the latter are known, for instance, for satanic worship occurring on the sites, with a lot of unexplainable events occurring in the De Soto Hotel. These include 3 ghostly apparitions, the usual random knocking and footsteps, as well as a camera being ripped off the wall. Wow. So check that out. Route 666 in Ghost Adventures episodes. The next one, Most Haunted, 30 East Drive. Most Haunted, 30 East Drive. Again, this is on Movie Web. So that case there, 30 East Drive is the name of the episode. The show is Most Haunted. Easily the United Kingdom's most popular ghost show, Most Haunted, was presented by TV host Yvette Fielding, who would visit haunted locations with a team of paranormal experts. I have not seen this investigative case, so I'd be curious what do you think? But it's 30 East Drive on the Most Haunted show. It is during their 2015 Halloween special, if that helps you try to find it. The next one is called Surviving Death. That's the name of the show. And the episode is Reincarnation. So it's Netflix original series. Surviving Death is nothing like the previously mentioned paranormal investigating shows. Rather than focusing on whether ghosts are real, it's more interested in what happens to people when they die. It's based on the book Surviving Death by Leslie Kean, highlighting new research and various personal stories. Each of the episodes focuses on different topics, ranging from ghosts and mediums to how to spot signs from the dead. However, its most compelling episode is the final one, called Reincarnation. Okay. Number 3 is Ghost Watch from the television. Ghost Watch. During the 90s, the United Kingdom, spiritualism rose to popularity again thanks to New Age movement in the decades prior. Well, one of the results was BBC's first Halloween special, Ghost Watch. So you might want to watch that on the show Ghost Watch. Number 2, The Lost Sanatorium. And the show is Paranormal Investigators Phasmophobia. Okay. Paranormal Investigators Phasmophobia is one of Australia's most popular ghost hunting shows. The series only has 1 season, follows Adria Caldy and a team of paranormal experts who are on the hunt to discover whether ghosts, poltergeists, and demons are real. Again, the show is called The Lost Sanatorium, and that's Paranormal Investigators Phasmophobia. And now they say the best one is the Dybbuk Box, the show Paranormal Witness. I would disagree with that. I think Legion of Exorcists show. I think that should definitely be in the rank top 10. Come on, Movie Web. Only because Exorcists went and we talked about our cases. They reenact those cases. It's never been done before. Never. And I just think that show was phenomenal. The Dybbuk Box Paranormal Witness. And they say out of all the episodes of Paranormal Witness, the Dybbuk Box is by far the most terrifying and memorable. The show is focused on a variety of different stories of real-life people who have lived through supernatural experiences, told through witnesses, accounts, and dramatized reenactments. Oh, pretty cool. So there's your little spill for that. Yeah, I think they probably will do a number 2, season 2, but we just simply don't know. Have you ever concluded a haunting or happening was definitely down to a malicious? Yes, I have. Yeah. An Expedition Bigfoot. Now, of course, keep in mind this is not my list. This is from Movies Web. So if I had, there's one episode. I don't remember what show it was, guys. I have no idea. I want to say a haunting. Here's the only thing that I remember about this episode. I would love to go to this church, wherever it is. Yeah, I remember it's a white building. And these people, there's a guy there that his job was to be the security at night. That was his job, to make sure no one comes in, that kind of thing. And so he had one guy go in there and he got terrified. He got so scared he ran out. He ran out of this place in the middle of the night. And then there was somebody else that was supposed to be there. Thank you. That was supposed to be taking care of it. And he got scared and he ran out of it. And so the owner got kind of frustrated because he couldn't keep people there. So he decided himself to go to this location, to this church. It's abandoned. I think they were renovating it. And then all kinds of crap. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff happened. And he got so scared, he took off himself. And he was the owner of the business. I can't remember. I wish I could remember where that church was. Yeah. Oh, that's what it is, Grizzly. Yep. The show is These Woods Are Haunted. Thank you, Grizzly. I would love to know what show. I would like to know where this church is. I would love to know where it's located. Someone told me in Texas. I don't know. The Devil Church. Oh, okay. So look at you guys. You guys are right on it. The Devil Church, everybody. So we're gonna have to write that down. I want to know where this is. Excuse me. The Devil Church. These Woods Are Haunted. I would love to know where that is. I would go there in a heartbeat. I would go there in a heartbeat. Yes, I someone's asking me on Facebook on Messenger. Yeah, I would be there for the night. Absolutely. Yes, I would. It's a process of fasting and praying. True. But yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Producer. I absolutely would. There's no ifs, ands, or yes. If I knew where it was, if I knew the name of the church, if I knew this city, if I just knew where it was, I would contact the church and say, hey, look, are you having any activity there? And if they say, yes, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Well, I would do a live. If I could do a live event, I would do it. Yeah, absolutely. I would do that in a heartbeat. I just don't know where it is. But yeah, I would do it. Heck yeah. Why not? Absolutely. Okay. For those of you on, hang tight with me there on TikTok, because I'm not going to go anywhere right now. I'm going to stick with you guys for a little bit. And I'm going to stick with you guys for a little bit. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Unfortunately, we're going to have to jump off here for you guys. Oh, I wouldn't go by myself. No, that's very dangerous. So TikTok and YouNow, stay here. Remember, my friends, I tell you all the time that your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. You are priceless, and never let anybody tell you otherwise. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, KGRADB Radio. Good night. The Sacred Division has been brought to you by Bishop Long's online paranormal course. Learn demonology, angelology, paranormal studies, and genealogy. It's 100% online, and you learn at your own pace. Please go to www.bishopjameslong.com and click on the paranormal course link.